Okay, so let's continue the session, people. So again, good afternoon, everyone. So we were discussing the database lesson. So last week we get to know about the primary and the foreign key at the end of the lesson. So I will recap it again, and I'll move to the next part. So today, I think we can move to the practicals, which is from MS Access, right? So before that, we have to finish up with the theory part. So there are a very little part to go. So let's cover that up, then move to the practical parts, right? So we discussed about the primary key last week, and I told you primary key is used to identify a particular record inside a table uniquely. So the example I took is your admission number. So how you are going to recognize in the school, it is from the admission number. Now, when you are admitting to the school, your details will be right in a very big book, right? Where your index number, your name, your address, your parents' name, your date of birth, and all these things are being recorded. So whenever they need to refer of your particular details, what they are doing is they will find your index number and refer that book. So your index number is only for you in that particular book. So it is being taken. Your only your record is taken regarding your admission number, which is being found, right? So primary key is something like that. So for your admission number, only your record. For your friend's admission number, it's only the friend's record is being referred, right? So if you think that your details are stored in a very big table, the easiest way to find your record is by referring your index number, right? So that is the advantage of a primary key. So when it for a particular field, to become a primary key, it should have the ability of uniqueness, right? If a particular field is qualified as a primary key, if a particular column is qualified as a primary key, that column should contain the data which is not repeated, right? So that is what we call primary key. And later we discuss about the foreign key, and we discuss about the composite primary key as well. Like composite primary key means when we are forming a primary key with the help of more than one column, right? So in some cases, we may need that kind of a technique, right? So in such case, when a composite primary key is formed, the details inside the composite primary key is unique. Like if the composite primary key takes two particular columns, like you see in this example, so 2014 is not unique, it is repeated over the year. Sport, it's kind of a unique, but if you think about the football is repeated over here. So the year column alone is not qualified to be a primary key. Sport column alone is not qualified to be a primary key, but together they are qualified to become a primary key. So like 2014 cricket is only at this point. So 2014 cricket කියන එක පාවිච්චි කරලා අපිට මේ total record එක මඳුන ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? 2014 football කිව්වොත් it's only this record. Likewise, we can form a composite primary key. And later we talk about the foreign keys. Foreign, I told you, only a primary key has the ability to become a foreign key in another table, right? So you can find a foreign key in any particular table. If you found or if you name something as a foreign key, that column should be a primary key on another table, right? It's a must be a primary key on another table, right? Hold on a second, people. Right, sorry for that, people. Was a little emergency. So yeah, we were talking about the foreign key. So like we learned last week, the foreign key can, if some particular column needs to be a foreign key, that particular column should be a primary key of another table. So you have to remember that particular detail, right, to recognize whether this column that they are saying is a foreign key or not. So as an example, we took this example right over here, right? So as you can see here, the number, the registration number is taken over here in this second table, which is called the subject table, as a foreign key. So this registration number is a foreign key and it is a primary key of this table, right? So those are the things we were talking about last week, and we wrote the special features of a foreign key as well. And today we are going to get to know the disadvantages of the data duplication, right? So this data duplication, we get to know about this data duplication, right? When we are talking about the new term called data redundancy, we discussed that redundancy is there because of these unwanted duplications of data, right? Or the repetitions of data. So that repetition can cause many different disadvantages to your database or even for a particular table, right? So one thing is inability to select a primary key field to maintain, identify, to maintain and to identify the records, right? So it's obvious when the data is being repeated, we don't have a column with unique values or distinct values. So we won't be able to find a primary key for that particular table. And again, inability to analyze data properly, right? Because the data is not in a one particular place, it repeats everywhere. So like if you take this particular table as a result, as an example, right? So this 1426 admission number is also repeated over here, 1426. So it's the same Kavindu Prabhashwara who is there, and the date of birth is similar. Here the marks are different. So what they have done here is they have recorded the marks of 3 particular students in 2 terms on the on a single table, right? So they don't have a particular column which has unique values, so they can't find any primary key from these fields. That's going to be a problem. And again, it's harder to analyze, all right? So like if someone asks the marks of the Kavindu Prabhaswara, then it needs to be specified which term and on which year, right? So it is not very easy, right? So if the things are getting complex, the complexity will be increased more, right? So, and again, reduce efficiency, definitely. Now, if someone asks you to find the marks of the Kavindu Prabhaswara, then he will find, okay, there are 2 marks for Kavindu Prabhaswara. Then he will eventually ask the question, which marks that you are referring to, right? Yes, right, okay. So those kind of things, right? Then api Muhammad Malik Karge lakunu ahuwot ehema මෙතන මොහමඩ් මලික් කාර්ගේ ලකුණු 47යි කියලා තියෙනවා. මෙතන මොහමඩ් මලික් කාර්ගේ ලකුණු 66යි කියලා තියෙනවා. අපිට හිතා ගන්න බෑ මොන ලකුණද මෙයා ඉල්ලන්නේ කියලා. ඒත් අපිට එයාගෙන් ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහන්න වෙනවා මොන ලකුණද ඕනේ කියලා. right? එතකොට ඒක search data search කරගන්න අපිට අපහසුයක් වෙනවා. right? එතකොට search කරගන්න අපහසු වෙනවම අපි මෙහෙම ප්‍රශ්න අහහා finally we have to find out what he exactly needs. ඉල්ලන කෙනාට මොකක්ද හරියටම ඕනේ කියලා. right? So then it takes time. But if we reduce or if we avoid the data duplication, නේද? මේකේ term 1 test එකේ ලකුණු වෙනමත් term 2 test එකේ ලකුණු වෙනමත් තිබුණා නම් අපිට පුළුවන් exactly කියන්න. මොන ලකුණද මොන year එකේද කාගේද කියන එක clearly අරගන්න. Right? And the fourth one, possibility to get inaccurate data is high. වැරදි data එකක් හම්බෙන්න තියෙන සම්භාවිතාව වැඩි. ඒක හරියනේ. Now if we ask for the Kavidu Prabhashwara's mark, someone will give you 79, someone will give you 69. Right? Nathan, if someone asks specifically, okay, what is the marks of the Kavidu Prabhashwara in first term? So 69 කියන එක තමයි හරි උත්තරේ වෙන්න ඕනේ. But Kavidu Prabhashwara තව මාක් එකක් තියෙනකොට term එක ගැන ඉච්චර සලකන්නේ නැතුව කෙනෙකුට කියන්න පුළුවන් 79 කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ වැරද්දක් වෙන්න තියෙන සම්භාවිතාව වැඩි වෙනවා. Right? Possibility is high. Difficult to input data. Yes. Because when you are inputting the data, you have to input or like you have to type the same data again and again. The Kavidu Prabhaswarage ලකුණු third term එකට දාන්න ගියොත් ආයිසරයක් admission number should be typed, name should be typed, date of birth should be typed, then again year should be typed. මේ දෙක විතරයි වෙනස් වෙන්නේ. එතකොට වැඩි වෙලාවක් යනවා සහ ඒක unwantedly type කිරීමක් අපි නේද? Then possibility to make errors in deleting data. Yes. දැන් කවුරු හරි කිව්වොත් කවිදු ප්‍රභාස්වරගේ මාක්ස් මකන්න කියලා සමහර කෙනෙක් කැමති මාක් එකක් මකන්න පුළුවන්. Right? Sometimes someone will ask, okay, there are 2 marks, which mark I should delete? Sometimes someone specifically say, delete the first term test mark of Kavidu Prabhaswara. Then someone by mistake can delete the term test marks of the second term test marks of Kavidu Prabhaswara because there are 2 lines. Right? Human errors kila kiyana api ekata. So that will be a problem. Right? And difficult to update data. Right? So if someone says, okay, change the marks of Kavidu Prabhaswara's in second term into 85. Second term එක marks 85ට වෙනස් කරන්න කිව්වොත් by mistakenly someone may change this 69 into 85. So again, it is an incorrect thing to do. So it will make an error because of this incorrect updation. Right? So those kind of things can be there due to the data duplications. So how we are going to avoid the data duplications? So what we are going to do is we are going to separate the data which we can find under the same entity. Right? Entity එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ එක්කෝ මනුස්සයෙකුට or a particular institute or a particular occasion. Right? So if we in the previous example, there these admission number, name, date of birth are attribute of the students. Student අදාළව තියෙන attributes. මේ marks, term and year නේද? term test එකට අදාළව නැත්නම් subjects වලට අදාළව තියෙන දේවල්. So these are 2 entities. Right? So what we are going to do is to avoid the data duplication, we put admission number, name, date of birth, the things that have repeating data in a separate table and the other things on another table. Right? Like this. See, the student table contains admission number, name and date of birth. So then the marks table contains admission number, marks, term and year. Right? So it will reduce the data duplication. කලින් වතාවේ ගොඩක් duplicate වුණා, මේ සැරේ ඊට වඩා අඩුවෙන් duplicate වෙන්නේ. Yeah, so Kita, it's the 9th lesson we are talking about. The lesson we have discussed last week too. Right? So here you can find the repetitions, the duplications ගන්න පුළුවන් මෙතන. හැබැයි කලින් table එක තරම් නැහැ. දැන් මේක duplicate වෙන්නේ year එක duplicate වෙනවා, term එක duplicate වෙනවා, admission number එක duplicate වෙනවා. Earlier one, admission number, name, date of birth, lot are being duplicated. Right, දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ A levels වලට ආවම මේකේ duplications තව අඩු කරගන්න අපි ක්‍රම පාවිච්චි කරනවා. Right? So now you can realize reducing the data duplication will reduce the disadvantages. Okay, is that clear, people? Right, okay. So let's quickly write this down. Put the heading disadvantage of data duplications. Right, let's write only the points, people. So the first point and the second point, write it accordingly. And yeah, people, I have a special announcement. We will be having the class on next week on 25th, and you will be getting a holiday on 1st of January, right? ඒක නිසා next week class එකට එන්න එතනින් database අපිට කතා කරලා ඉවර කරන්න පුළුවන්. 1st of January you will be getting a holiday, right? And then we are continue by the 8th of January, right? So don't forget, people, right? Next week එතකොට class එකට එන්න, right? You will be getting a session, right? අපි පුළුවන් තරම් බලමු අද cover කරගන්න. එතකොට නේද Christmas day එක නේද මම දන්නවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ සමහරවිට you may having some other plans and all these things. අපිට එහෙම පුළුවන් ඉක්මනට ඒක ඉවර කරගන්න පුළුවන් වුණොත් අපි කලින් session එක end කරන්න බලමු එදාට. But anyway, we will be able to done with this with the lesson by next week, right? That we are done with the grade 10, so we can move to the grade 11 lessons with the 2022, right? And I'm going to do a third term examination when you are ready to do the third term on school. So එතකොට ඒක revise වෙනවා ඔයගලන්ට ටිකක්, right? අපි එතකොට third term එක කරමු. Before that, we'll commence the grade 11 one, right? So when you get the exam timetables with you, just let me know, right? Then we'll do a paper and discuss to revise the grade 10 stuff, right? For the third term test. Okay, are we done? Can we move forward? Okay. Is there anyone still writing this? Right. So I'm moving forward.
Little, but I'm gonna get a big one only big water.
You want big water?
Yeah.
Hold on, we'll talk about this, right? Wait, I'm giving some notes to this then I will talk about the big water. Huh? Okay, people, only the highlighted part, right? So do it, and I will be continuing. I will be moving the screen a little bit downwards time after time. So I will give you some more points. We'll highlight some more points, right? Let me know when you are done, people. Okay, one is done. How about others? All right, two are done. Is there anyone who is still doing this? Okay, great. Can we move forward? Right, people, put a star mark and write this line. Right. These difficulties are created as all data are stored in one table. Hence, to minimize such difficulties, a table can be divided into several tables. Right. Okay, so I'll give you a small example to illustrate this, not the thing that you are finding in the book, right? Yeah, let me draw it for you so you can copy it with me, right? So you may write it, you may start writing with me. No, I'll write it and I'll tell you when to start, right? Hold on. All right, something wrong with my, hold on, people. This is frustrating. Okay. Let's do it like this, people. I'll draw the example and send it to the group, right? Separately. You will keep, like if it is a CR book, place half of a page, like keep half of a page to draw the example. If it is a normal exercise book, keep one particular page to draw the example, right? So I'll do it because my pen is not functioning properly. I don't know why, for some reason. It has some delay of writing things. Yeah, something is wrong with it. So people, yeah, let's not spend on time. So I'm moving to the next section. So please keep the space, people. I will send you. Right. So if you got a small book, keep a one page, leave a one page. If you got a CR book, leave half of a page. Right. Okay, so next they are talking about creating a simple database manually. Right now, still we are not into the electronic things. We are going to create a particular database manually first, right? So first, when we are creating a database, a simple database, we have to figure out what kind of data that we are going to use. And then we have to specify what is the type of data that we are going to use for these data, right? If we are recording any particular data, what's the type of it? So if you think about the type of data, these types can be there, right? There can be numeric type data. Like there can be integers, there can be real type data, right? Integers are whole numbers. Real means the floating point values, the numbers with decimal places, right? And you can find the text data as well, right? So if you type any particular data with some letters or some characters or some spaces, it's going to be a text type data, right? Even if you are writing a telephone number with a space, it's going to be considered as a text because space is considered as a character. Histana කියලා තියෙන එක character එකක් කියලා තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ හිතන්නේ. Right? So text can be taken for something like that. And there can be currency types, right? Where some data starts from a currency symbol like dollars, rupees, yen, euro kind of things, right? So those are the currency type of data. And there can be date and time data, right? Which indicates the date, which indicates the time, right? And here it's a new one, which is called the Boolean value. Now, Boolean values, you are familiar with the Boolean values in the from the fourth lesson, from the logic gates lesson, which is true and false. So I told you one indicates the value true and false indicates the value 0, right? So you have to like there will be places where you have to put this true or false, or in other words, yes or no type, right? So like if we are storing the data about a scholarship, there can be students who are receiving the scholarship and there can be students who are not receiving the scholarship. So if you are going to maintain a column with the name of scholarship status, scholarship එකේ තත්ත්වය දෙනවද නැද්ද කියන එක, so we can fill that column in the table using these values, right? Yes, no කියලා පුරවන්න පුළුවන්. හම්බෙන කෙනාට yes කියලා පුරවනවා, හම්බ වෙන්නේ නැති කෙනාට no කියලා පුරවනවා. Right? Likewise, this kind of data can be used with a particular table. Right? So when it comes to the database, they have their special jargon භාෂාවක් කියලා අපි කියන්නේ අපි සාමාන්‍ය කතා කරන භාෂාවක් නෙවෙයි. අපි මොකක් හරි දෙයක් ගැන විෂයක් ගැන කතා කරන්න ගියාම ඒකට අදාළ වෙන භාෂාවක් තියෙනවා. දැන් අපි කම්පියුටින් ගැන කතා කරනකොට අපි කියනවා input devices කියලා. Right? Input devices are used to input something. හැබැයි අපි කවදාවත් නේද ෆ්‍රිජ් එකට දෙයක් ඉන්පුට් කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ නැහැ නේ අපි. ෆ්‍රිජ් එකකට අපි ඇතුළත් කරන එක තමයි කරන්නේ. but ෆ්‍රිජ් එකට ඉන්පුට් කරනවා කියලා අපි කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. Right? So that likewise. Right? එතකොට අපි කුකරි ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකේ කතා කරන්නේ එක ජාතියේ භාෂාවක්. නේද? ඒ දෙයම තව ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකක වෙන ඒකට අදාළ වෙන terms ටිකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. So likewise when it comes to the database management criteria, we give a new name to the column. We call it the field, right? Column eකට අපි කියනවා field එකක් කියලා. Right? So column name we address it as field names, right? And then number of fields, or like the column width, column එක කොච්චර පළල වෙන්න ඕනද කියලා අපි කියනවා number of fields නෙවෙයි අතට මේක field width එක කියලා තමයි එන්න ඕනේ, right? Not the number of fields, right? Number of fields කිව්වම කොච්චර fields ගණක් තියෙනවද කියලා එතනදී කතා බහ වෙන්නේ. It should be the field width or the field size, right? So here field name, those can be taken like subject name, subject code, right? Those kind of things, right? And the size of the field can be there, as well as for a particular field name there can be a data type as well. So if we see accession number of the book, right, that is considered as a text. Then ඕගලන්ගේ admission number එක ගත්තොත් field name එකක් විදියට its data type can be a number. නේද? අපේ තියෙන numbers වලින් හැදිච්ච එකක්. Right? So maybe in some particular database student number එක S001 කියලා යනවනේ. So it's going to be a text type. මොකද ඒකේ එක අකුරක් හරි involve වෙනවනේ, so it is text type. Author's name, data type should be text. Title, data type should be text. Price of a book, it should be currency. When the price is there, it's defines like rupees or in dollars or somehow. So it's the currency data type. Number of books, it's a number. It can be an integer or can be a float or a real, right? Likewise. Okay, so when we are creating the manual database, we should consider about these things. What are the fields that we are going to create in a table, and how big the field is, and what kind of data that we are going to store, right? Right, thereafter, once we are done with the design, the manual design, we can convert the manual database into electronic medium or into an electronic database. Before I move to that, I want you to have the answers for this table. Yes. So here they have given some fields. What kind of data types that we can have for admission number? Yes, people, what kind of data type that we can have? Yes, number. And how about its size? Like how many characters should have? Just give a suggestion, right? It cannot be concrete. Like how many? What is the size of it? Yes, okay, 5 or Sidmi? Okay, 5. Yes, that could be a good one. Yeah, so 5 numbers. So admission number is a number which contains 5 characters, right? Date of admission, what should be the data type? Yeah, number is not a very good type for that, right? It should be date and time. Yes, Tesandu. Sayuri, Tesandu, yes. It should be date and time. Because if it is a number, we won't be able to put the dashes or put the backslashes or put the spaces. We won't be able to, right? So it's good that we can have the data type as date and time, or just the date. Subject code. Yes. If my subject code is something like this, C right? If the subject code is something like S001, it's going to be a text. Yes, definitely. Doctor's fee, what kind of a data type? Currency, definitely. Yes, Asanda. Yes, Udamme. It's currency because we are going to put something like rupees. Department name, text. Yes, definitely text. Number of passengers, a number. Yes. What about the last one? Is registered. What's the kind of it? Yes. Yes, Boolean. That's right. That's right. Should be Boolean. Okay, good. You people are having the idea how the things are going to go. Right. So let's move to the next section. So it is talking about converting the manual database into an electronic medium. Now, electronic medium means you are going to create a database inside the computer, right? Or a device which can hold a database. So when it comes to the electronic database type of things, right? So we can't just create a database by any particular software. To do that, we need to use a special software called database management systems. In short term, we say DBMS, right? And this database management system consists of facilities to create a table, to create some queries. You will get to know what are the queries are, to create some forms, some reports, right? So you can get to know about those. So there are many different DBMS softwares, right? So MS Access, which is created by the Microsoft Corporation. The base, it is a free and open source software. Oracle base, it's from the Oracle Corporation, right? There can be many different ones, but not as frequent as the other three softwares, but still there are, right? So then we are going to talk about how to use a database management system, right? So let's see what do we have to do. Before that, let's write about this thing, Nether. Yeah, let's write it like this. Yeah, we don't need to write creating a simple database manually kind of a heading. Let's go with the data types, people. Yeah, data DBMS කියන්නේ තේසඳු database management system. DB stands for database, M stands for management, S stands for systems. Right, people have the heading data types and write the definition, and you have to copy down these different data types with the examples, people. So quickly take it down. Okay, one is done. How about others? Okay, anyone who is still writing? All right, keep it up, people. Yes, how about the situation? All right. Some are saying they are done. Anyone still writing? Ravidu? You are done, right? Ah, okay, okay, okay. All right. So let's roll on. So here we go to experience the MS Access. Right. Yeah. People, before that, I want you to write these three things: field name, column name, and these two. Instead of number of fields, just write it as field size. Field size, right? Field size, right? Then to that, add another column called data type. ඒකටම දාගන්න. මේකේ දෙන්නයි තුන්වෙනිය විදිහට data type එක දාලා for subject name write it as text, for subject code write it as number, right? So then it will be a good example. So you are getting 3 columns. I'll write the other one over here so it will be easier for you to understand. Right here you need data type, right? Then you will say text and number, right? That will be your third column. make it an example. All right, so one is done. Can we move forward? Right, so I'm moving forward. Okay, so here we are going to convert this. So the software that we are going to use is the Access, right? So people, this is going to be your homework for you, database management system software. And please copy this table at home, right? So that indicates what kind of softwares that we can have to create a database. So here I'm taking the Access. right? So this is how the MS Access is started, right? So it's a little bit different from the MS Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Sometimes there are some similarities as well, like everything has blank document and this has a blank database. But when you are clicking on this, the structure or the process is a little bit different. So if I click on this, first it will ask me to save the database first, right? So I'm going to choose a particular place, right? So I'll click this and I'll give the desktop just for the moment. And I'm giving the name school info. It's better you use the I'll say school details, right? And I'm pressing OK. And can you recognize, like, look at the data type, save as type. They have taken like Microsoft Access 27216 database, ACCDB, right? So if I press OK, then my path is OK, right? Here they are showing me the path and my particular name. So still I have not created my database. Oops, I think I have accidentally take it out. Yeah. So let me do that again. I'll take the desktop and I'll take school details and say OK. Right, now I'm pressing create button, then it will create a particular database. Okay, so once it is created, you can see my given name, the database name is here, school details, so database. So the place is showing to me. So this is kind of a different interface that we are having, right? So what they are opening is like they straight away go for the table fields, table kind of a thing, the very last tab that we have. They have the quick access toolbar like the previous part, like the previous in the, like we see it on the other application softwares. And here it has these ribbons. It's a little bit different, right? Like when it comes to the home, there are some text formatting tools, something a little bit familiar over here. Other than that, they are a little bit different. And you can go for the create, different kinds of creations. We are going to use this on creating tables, creating queries, creating forms, creating reports, right? And some advanced part like external data, database tools, kind of things. We are mainly focused on this home and the create ribbons, right? And when you are creating a table now, they have by default they create a table and give me that particular interface, because if we create a database, there should be at least one table inside it. So because of that, they just create the table. They are not actually creating the place to create. We call this the design in page of the table, or the design in view of the table. You will be just taken here and will allow you to create the table that you want. All right. And you can see at the left side, there is a small pane over here. It indicates the header table, and under that table 1, something called table 1 is there, right? So what I'm going to do is, I have this structure which I have created before. right? So there are 4 tables, which is student info, class info, teacher info, and student teacher, right? So student info is containing the details about the student. Class info is containing the details about the classes. Teacher info is containing the details about the teachers. And this student teacher table is indicating or containing the details about the students and the teachers and their teaching sessions, like how long a particular teacher is teaching to a particular student, right? So those are the tables of mine. So I'm going to create these things. So in the database, the view that you can see is the view where you can insert the data, or like in other words, where you can insert the records to a particular table. So before we insert the data to a particular table, we have to create the table structure, right? So to create the table structure, we are using this views group right at the very left corner. And using this view, I'm going to take the design view. I'm in the datasheet view now. I'm going to take the design view. And even here, I have given the chance, like when I'm in the datasheet view, here it shows the design view icon. So by clicking it, I can go straight away to the design view. So before I go into the design view, yeah, it's going to over within 10 minutes or so. Right, so before I move to the design in page or design in view, they are asking a name for it, right? So according to my plan over here, I'm going to give the name saying student info, right? So student, I'm not going to keep the spaces. Instead of that, I'm using the camel case. Right, look at how I have given the name student info. Because spaces, sometimes database is not good with these spaces. So don't keep the spaces. If you really want to have a space, use an underscore like this. But here I'm going to give like student info, just student info, and press OK. Now you can see I have taken into the design in page. And if I click on this, I can go to the data sheet. If I click this again, I can come to the design. So here, these particular places, these particular places are there to create fields for my table. And here you can see they have given a list of data types. So I can choose what are the data types that I'm going to use for specific field. And if I want, I can have some description. It is not compulsory, but giving a name and setting a data type is a must. Now, according to my plan, I'm going to create this table. So it has SID, SNAME, address, DOB, gender, CID, and fee. So SID is the primary key. I have underlined it, so you can remember how the primary key is indicated by underlining it. So SID is my primary key, SNAME, address, DOB, gender. CID here, this acts as a foreign key because CID is the primary key of class info table. I have taken it as a foreign key. So this student info table and class info table are related. They have a connection with each other and the fee. So can you all propose the data types for these fields, people? For SID, what kind of data type is suitable? Yeah, it is text. And for SNAME and address, we can select text as well. For DOB, that indicates date of birth. date or date and time will be good. Gender, yeah, text will be a good one, right? CID, yeah, text. And fee, yeah, according to the data that I have mentioned over here, number will be much suitable because here I don't have any currency symbol. But when I'm creating my database, I need to have this as a currency, right? So I can use that, right? So here I'm going to create it. So my SID, SNAME, address, DOB, gender, CID, and fee. So my first one is going to be SID, right? And for that, and here they got two things, short text, long text. So I'll take it as short text, right? Then is it the S name? Yeah, S name. So I take S name. And I'll keep it as short X. Then address and DOB. Address, I'm making this as long text. And DOB, I need date and time. What else? Gender, CID, and fee. Gender, short text, I say. CID, short text. And fee, I take it as currency. So I have given the SID and the data type, SNAME and the data type, address and the data type, DOB and the data type, gender and the data type, CID and the data type, fee and the data type. All right, so yeah. So for the SID, if I want to give a particular validation rule, do you remember we set some validation rules? Right, so let me see what I can offer over here. Field size, format, input marks, validation rule, validation text. Yeah, let me see the validation rule. It's going to be a little bit complex with this. You put some what?
Glue there.
Oh my God. I don't know.
Can you help me to fix it?
No. Hold on, so I will finish this and come. Right, okay. So for the moment, people, we'll have it like this, right? And can you recognize this particular thing? In this list, can you see there is a small key kind of a mark? So that means it indicates this SID as the primary key. Right now, by default, it was there. So if I want, I can take it away. How I'm going to take it away? I can take out the primary key from that. So primary key is gone. If I select it and press this primary key, now you will see the key. All right. So how am I going to take away the primary key? From over here. In the tools, using the primary key button. Right. So now I can save it using the save button. Then if I am visiting to the data sheet view, here comes my table. So now I can type the things to these places. Then it will allow me to take the other ones as well. Okay, people, is that clear? How to create a table using the MS Access. Okay. So next week, what we are going to do is we are going to create more tables over here according to my database. So my database has 4 tables, and we are going to put some data into it. And we are going to see how to create. Now we are creating the table. Then we see how to create the queries, the forms, the reports, right? And we are going to talk about those. Okay, so thank you very much for today, people. I will see you on next week for the very same time with the creation of database. And please participate on next week. You are going to have a holiday on 1st of January, right? Okay, people, have a very nice weekend. Thank you very much for everyone. Right, okay, everyone. Have a very nice weekend.